Hello and welcome to the Trivia 12. Today we have a dozen curious and quite tricky questions coming up for you, so grab a paper and pen, answers coming up at the end of each half. Where else to start but question 1. For our first question, I want to know, in which city was this Olympic flame lit?
Oh, my sense is deserting me. There's something funny going on here. Villiers, what are you doing with your thing?
I'm sorry, sir, but for the good of Rome, you must die.
But you're my personal bodyguard and champion gladiator. I don't want to die. I may not be a very good live emperor, but I'd be a worse one dead. Treachery! Infamy! Infamy! They've all got it in for me.
One of the most famous lines from the Carry On films, Kenneth Williams in Carry On Cleo. In total, 30 Carry On films were made between 1958 and 1978, before a belated and last entry was released in 1992. What I want to know is, what was the name of that 31st and last Carry On film?
I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week.
Liz Truss resigning after just 45 days in office, making her the UK's shortest serving Prime Minister. For question 3, who was the longest? Here we go with question number 4. I'm going to show you 5 famous faces. Each are only going to be on screen for 3 seconds. I want to know what TV show links them all. Here is a map of the United States. For question number 5, I want to know which is the smallest American state in terms of land area. We've been watching the Jules Rimet Trophy, the World Cup, being engraved, but for the last question in this half, can you tell me which was the first host country to win the World Cup? Hosting and winning, who were the first? So we're at the halfway mark. Time to check on the answers so far. For question 1, I show you the lighting of an Olympic flame and asked in which city. The answer is Barcelona. It was the 1992 Olympics. Great Britain got 5 gold medals on that occasion. 2 in athletics, 2 in rowing and 1 in cycling. For question 2, I asked you which was the last entry in the Carry On series. The answer was Carry On Columbus, with Jim Dale as Christopher Columbus. Actually, I asked who was the UK's longest serving Prime Minister, where it's the first one, Sir Robert Walpole. He was in office from 1721 to 1742. For question number 4, I show you 5 famous faces and asked what TV show linked them all. The answer is blankety blank. They've all hosted it. Terry Wogan from 1979 to 1983, Les Dawson 1984 to 1989, Paul O'Grady as Lily Savage from 1997 to 1999, then it hopped over to ITV 2001 to 2002, Bradley Walsh has been doing it on the BBC since 2020. The curveball in there really was David Williams, who did a one-off Christmas special on ITV in 2016. Here's a clip of that.
Now, before we begin, I'd just like to pay tribute to Blankety Blank's glittering array of hosts. The legendary Sir Terry Wogan, the comic genius Les Dawson, and most recently Lily Savage. A man dressed as a woman, something I would never do, but just that.
For question number 5, I wanted to know which was the smallest US state. The answer is Rhode Island. It's 48 miles north to south and 37 east to west. It does, however, have the longest official name, which is the State of Rhode Island and the Providence Plantations. And the last answer in this first half of the quiz, the question was, which was the first host country to win the World Cup? Well, it's back in the very first World Cup, 1930, and the answer is Uruguay. They beat Argentina 4-2 in the final. The interlude on the Trivia 12 can be anything. It might be a clip, a joke, a game. Today we're making your brains think even more with this puzzle. As you can see, we have a typewriter here, and I want to know, using only the keys found on the top line of this typewriter, can you come up with a 10-letter word? So using only the keys on the top line of a typewriter, find a 10-letter word. It's now time for the second half of the quiz. Here's question number 7. The iconic Crystal Dome from the Crystal Maze. For question 7, how many years would you have been married if you are celebrating your crystal anniversary? Some maypole dancing there. For question 8, if it's May Day, how many days until Halloween? We were looking at how the famous Oscar statuette is made. For question number 9, who is the only Oscar to win an Oscar?
But now, with the clock ticking slowly up to 7 a.m, it's going to be time to welcome Radio 1's first early show on 247 metres medium wave, whilst Breakfast Special continues on Radio 2. 10 seconds to go before Radio 1, Tony Blackburn, and Radio 2, Paul Hollingdale. Stand by for switching. Get tuned to Radio 1 or 2. 5, 4, 3. Radio 2, Radio 1, go.
The voice of Radio 1. Just for fun. Music too much.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the exciting new sound of Radio 1. Yes, indeed, we've even got Arnold back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first of the Tony Blackburn shows. I shall be waking up every morning, except Sunday, between 7...
Saturday, the 30th of September, 1967, and we've just been listening to the beginning of Radio 1. Tony Blackburn was the DJ who launched it all. What was the first record he played? Not the sample jingle we've just heard, but the actual first full record. What was it?
Yes. What a time to come up with ace number 95. This match is never going to end at this rate.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to darkness, play suspended.
Everyone wants to see the end, but they have to come back tomorrow.
Sets up his 5th match point, and can he make it?
How will he cope with the enormity of this situation?
Played on the 22nd, the 23rd and the 24th of June 2010, it was the longest match ever played in the history of tennis. It was at Wimbledon. John Isner beat Nicolas Mahut 70-68 in the 5th set. For question 11, on what court at Wimbledon was this infamous match played? And we've reached our final question, which is about Monopoly. Here we're looking at a set produced during wartime. You can notice some differences here. It's kind of a back to basics set. Wooden houses and hotels. And an unusual spinner instead of a dice. My question though is, what is the American equivalent of Mayfair in the UK? And that concludes the quiz. How do you think you've done so far? Here's the answers from the second half. I asked, how many years would you have been married if you were celebrating your crystal anniversary? The answer is 15. Question 8 was a tricky maths poser. How many days between May Day and Halloween? So if it's May Day, it's May the 1st. You have another 30 days left. 30 days in June, 31 in July and August, 30 in September. Halloween is 31st of October. Add them all up and you get 183. 183. Who was the first Oscar to win an Oscar? The answer is Oscar Hammerstein. He won it twice for Best Original Song. For The Last Time I Saw Paris from Lady Be Good in 1942, and then State Fairs, It Might As Well Be Spring in 1946. Because The Last Time I Saw Paris came from a bit of a dark place, Hammerstein actually petitioned the Academy successfully for a rule change so that the winning song had to be written specifically for the movie it featured in, ironically ruling him out of some more famous works later from the likes of The Sound of Music and The King and I. So what was the first record Tony Blackburn played on Radio 1? Let's find out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first of the Tony Blackburn shows. I shall be waking up every morning, except Sunday, between 7 and 8:30. So let's away! If this one doesn't wake you up, then nothing will. This is number 3 this week in the Radio 1 Fun 30 from the movies called Flowers in the Rain.
Woke up one morning half asleep with all my blankets in a heap and yellow roses scattered all around.
The answer to question number 11, the longest tennis match ever played, was held on court number 18 at Wimbledon. We will never see its like again, as now all matches are settled by tie breaks at 6-all in the 5th. And for question 12, what was the American equivalent of Mayfair on a UK Monopoly board? In America, it is Boardwalk. Park Place instead of Park Lane. And not forgetting the answer to our interlude puzzle, could you find a 10-letter word using only the keys found on the top line of a typewriter? Well, the answer is the word typewriter itself. Are there any more? Let me know in the comments. So, that's the end of the quiz. How did you do? Time to find out with the Trivia 12 ratings. Today, which Anne are you? No right answers? Anne. Anonymous. Moving on. If you scored between 1 and 3, Anne, a maniac. Zany to the max. Between 4 and 6, Anne Shirley or Anne of Green Gables. Curious, but with a bit to learn. If you scored between 7 and 9, you're Anne Hathaway. Your star is shining brightly. If you scored 10 or 11, you are Anne Hegarty. You are a quiz genius. If you got all 12 correct, congratulations. You are Android. You are a robot. See you next time on the Trivia 12